Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today it is June 3rd, 2023. It's on Saturday. It's sunny outside. How are you spending Saturday? Is it a day off? Or do you have a school or work? It depends on your schedule. It hinges on your schedule. It's all up to your schedule. I started Saturday with a cup of coffee and bread. What do you have? What do you usually have for breakfast in the morning? I think many people will have a cup of coffee and bread in the morning. What kind of coffee do you like? I mean, black, cafe latte, cafe au lait, iced coffee, and so on. Which kind of coffee do you like to have in the morning? Fertility is essential part for good harvest. The fertility of the soil. My grandmother failed to harvest the vegetables for lack of fertility of the soil. My grandmother failed to harvest the vegetables for want of fertility of the soil. Fertility of the soil. Fertility of the soil. Fertility of the soil. The food leftovers, do you think will contribute as a fertilizer? Do you think the food leftovers will contribute to the better fertility of the soil? I'm not a specialist, so I don't know, but do you think the food leftovers will contribute to the better fertility of the soil? Fertile soil. Fertile soil. Do you think the food leftovers will help the soil to be fertile? Fertile. Do you think the food leftovers will help the soil to be fertile? Do you think that the food leftovers will help the soil to be fertile, more fertile, 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 fertile. Fertile soil is indispensable for good harvest, for the vegetables and other plants to grow better. Fertile soil. My grandmother bought some fertilizers at home center to make the soil more fertile. Fertile. Fertile soil is indispensable, imperative to grow vegetable better. Fertile. 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 Fertile soil. Can I use food leftovers for the soil to be fertile? And can I use the food leftovers to make the soil more fertile? Fertile, 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 fertile. Can I use food leftovers to make the soil more fertile? Can I use the leftovers to make the soil fertile? And can I use food leftovers to make the soil fertile? Fertile, fertile, fertile. Fertilize. Do you think the food leftovers will fertilize the soil? Fertilize. Fertilize. The notorious policy fertilized only the rich people. The notorious policy fertilized only rich people, only the rich, which expanded the gap between the rich and the poor more. Fertilize. Fertilize the soil. Fertilize the soil. Fertilize the soil. Fertilize. Fertilize. Fertilize the soil. Fertilize. Fertilize the soil with leftovers, which is environmental friendly. Fertilize. Fertilize. Fertilize the soil. 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 What can I use for free to fertilize the soil? I know maybe the food leftovers. And what can I use? Anything else? What anything else can I use to fertilize the soil, which will help the growth of the vegetables? Fertilize. 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 Are the fallen leaves contributing to fertilizing the soil? Are the fallen leaves contributing to fertilizing the soil? Are the fallen leaves contributing to fertilizing the soil? Do the fallen leaves help the soil to be fertilized? Do the fallen leaves fertilize the soil? Do the fallen leaves fertilize the soil? Do the fallen leaves fertilize the soil? Fertilize. Do the fallen leaves fertilize the soil? Do the fallen leaves fertilize the soil? Fertilize. 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 Do the fallen leaves fertilize the soil? Do the food leftovers fertilize the soil? Fertilize. Fertilize. What else can I use other than food leftovers to fertilize the soil? Fertilize. The crude remarks by the politician made him more isolated. We are no more isolated. from others, even if we are infected with the virus, even if we infected with the virus. All of the border measures have been lifted now. The rooms are isolated into 10 rooms. The hotel is isolated into 10 rooms. Isolation policy. The isolation policy lasted more than 200 years, which helped the country to which helped the unique culture to flourish. At the same time, the introduction of new technologies from foreign countries delayed. Isolation. Isolation. Being isolated from outside or anyone else might be the key to achieving breakthrough. Being isolated from others might be the key to coming up with incredible ideas and so on. Being isolated from others, anyone else, everyone else might be the key to become unique and come up with ingenious, incredible ideas, which no one else can come up with. I like looking at the beautiful cabinet with cups and glasses beautifully isolated. I like to looking at the cups and glasses beautifully arranged, isolated inside. And since all of the books were not isolated, it was such a tough to find the one. So after learning the lesson, we isolated all of the books in the cabinet. So from now on, we can have access to the book we are finding. Isolate water and oil. Do not isolate executives and employees. Toilets are usually isolated between men and women. But I sometimes find the toilet which can be used for both gender. I hope the researchers will find out and isolate the key factors which are affecting my atopic dermatitis, eczema. I hope the researchers, doctors, and any other those who are involved in the field can isolate the key factors, elements, which are affecting my allergies, atopic dermatitis, eczema. Isolation from others. Isolation from others was the main way to prevent us from getting infected. Seclusion, isolation of ourselves from others was the main strategy to prevent infection. Isolation of the key factors which are affecting my atopic dermatitis. Isolation from others. Being alone and the isolation from others, everyone else, might be the key to coming up with very unique ideas. Isolation. Isolation of water and oil. Isolation of the time for the event, day and night. Isolation of the event time between day and night. Isolation of the event time between day and night. Isolation. Isolation. The feeling of isolation. Are you afraid of being isolation? Are you afraid of the isolation? Are you afraid of getting into isolation? Are you afraid of getting into isolation? Are you frightened of getting into isolation? Isolation from society, social withdrawal. Isolation. She gave birth to a baby. She has given birth to a baby. She gave birth to a baby. She has given birth to a baby. The celebrity announced her pregnancy on news. Sometimes I see the news of a celebrity announcing a pregnancy or giving birth to a baby. The celebrity announced that she has been pregnant for 3 months. They say that we tend to come up with a good idea or new idea while we are taking a shower. It is said that we are apt to come up with an idea while we are taking a shower. Repetition is a way I often use for the memory. Deeper, longer memory. Memory. I don't have the memory of having spent the time with you at the kindergarten. I haven't remember. I don't remember at all about the days under 3 years old. The boxer lost his memory after getting the strong blow. Memory, 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 memory. I cannot recall my dates without getting depressed. I cannot recall my childhood without getting depressed. Do you do? Memory is said to be connected with sleeping. Memory is said to be connected with sleeping, so we need to sleep well to have the better memory. He lost his memory after drinking too much. He has lost his memory about having done wrongdoings after drinking too much. He lost his memory about having done wrongdoings after drinking too much. The patient lost his memory after the car accident. The patient lost his memory after the car accident. I sometimes lose my memory about what I prepared for the presentation and so on under extreme pressure. I sometimes lose my memory which I prepared for something such as presentation under extreme nervousness, pressure, and so on. I sometimes lose my memory about what I prepared for the presentation under extreme pressure. He lost his memory after the car accident. I soon lose my memory about what I memorized. I soon forget what I have memorized. I soon forget what I have memorized. The patient lost his memory for the disease. The, the patient lost her memory by the accident. The patient lost her memory by the car accident. Are you good at memorizing numbers, figures, names, and so on? I'm not good at memorizing fast. I'm not good at memorizing quickly. I usually take much time to memorize a thing. I usually take much time to memorize things. Memorization. Repetition is the way I often use for the memorization. Repetition is the way I use for the memorization. Repetition is the way, method, strategy for the memorization. If you don't wanna fail in the examination, stack up small daily effort. If you don't wanna fail in the examination, study daily. You cannot achieve the goal in a day. You cannot pass examination in a day. You cannot pass examination in a day. Start from now. Although this is not boasting, I failed the examination 7 times. I failed the examination 7 times. How many subjects have you failed ever? How many subjects did you fail? How many subjects have you failed ever? I failed some subjects, but which did not affect my graduation, because I had already earned enough credits which were needed for graduation. I failed some subjects, but which did not affect my graduation. Because I had already earned enough credits which were needed for graduation. The umbrella did not fail typhoon. The umbrella failed typhoon. The umbrella I bought failed strong wind. The umbrella I bought failed typhoon, strong wind, and so on. The umbrella failed typhoon. The umbrella failed strong wind. Strong wind. The umbrella failed strong wind. I remember having failed the subject called Koten, Japanese old Japanese. I was obliged to take the examination again after listening to the lecture, which was embarrassing for me. I failed many times. I failed in many things, which made me what I am now. I failed many times, but which made me stronger and stronger. I failed examinations, job huntings, and so on. But I hope I can hit a Grand Slam home run at some point in my life in the near future. I hope that I can hit a Grand Slam home run in the near future. Have you failed some subjects? Have you failed a subject when you ever? Have you failed a subject at school? Have you failed a subject at the school? Have you failed a subject at school? Have you failed a subject such as math, physics, social studies, and so on? Have you failed a subject? Have you failed a subject? Academic subject. Have you failed a subject? Have you failed academic subject? Have you failed academic subject such as math, physics, and so on? Yes. I failed some subjects at school. I failed some subjects at school, which made me take the examination again to earn the credit. I could get away with taking the examination again by submitting notebooks to the teacher, which allowed me to add some points on the score, ending up escaping from taking the examination again. Although I failed the subject, the teacher gave me a chance to submit the notebook to the teacher, and then I could earn more scores, which allowed me escape taking the examination again. Although I failed a subject, although I failed that subject at the school, the teacher gave me a chance to earn more scores by submitting the notebook to the teacher, which allowed me to get over the borderline. Do you have a wireless earphone? Do you have a wireless earphone? Do you have a pair of wireless earbuds? Do you have a wireless earbuds? I still use the cable earbuds because I don't have to charge them. I can use whenever I want. So I know the cable is annoying. The cable is in my way, but I don't use them frequently, so I still use the cable earbuds. Do you still use the cable earbuds? Earphone, earbuds. Do you still a pair of wireless earbuds? Do you use a wireless earbuds? Do you use a wireless earbud? A wireless earbuds. A pair of wireless earbuds. A pair of wireless earbuds. A pair of cable earbuds. A wireless pair of earbuds. A pair of cable earbuds. Antidepressants never worked for me, so I quit intaking them. No medicines cured my depression. Only the time passing helped. The best treatment for depression for me was to wait for the time to pass and to change the environment and try to get used to the environment. These strategies worked much better than the medicines. Antidepressant. There are some medicines available for mental problems. Antidepressant. Coffee and exercising worked better than antidepressant for me. Coffee and exercising worked better than antidepressant for me. Antidepressant. 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 Now that we can shop online, we don't have to go out to a certain extent, to some degree, to some extent. Do you have a credit card? Do you have a debit card? Could you explain the difference between debit and credit card concisely, enough for me to understand? The Einstein's theory is beyond the reach of beyond the reach of my imagination, understanding. Do you use a debit card? No, I don't have a debit card. Debit and credit. Debit account. I was asked to fill out debit account in the document to pay the utility. To pay the utilities. In the document, I was asked to fill in the debit account to pay for the utilities. Debit card. Debit. Debit account. This bank account is for the debit account. I use the debit account of the bank. Debit account. Debit, 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 debit. The reverse word for debit is credit. Debit. The opposition word of debit is credit. Debit, 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 debit. In the document, I was asked to fill out the debit account to pay for utilities. In the document, I was asked to fill in the vacant sections, in the where I had to write debit account and so on. Debit, 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 debit account, debit account, debit, 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 debit account, debit account. Debit account. Debit, debit and credit. Debit, debit, debit. In the document, I was asked to fill in the document where I had to write debit account and so on. Debit, debit. I have few things in common with others. I have few things with others in common. I have few things in common with others. In common. I have few things in common with others. I have few things in common with others. Let's prepare for the natural disaster, for fear that our house would be thrown away. Let's prepare for the natural disaster, lest our house should be thrown away by the tsunami, flood, and so on. Let's prepare for the natural disaster in case our house would be thrown away by the tsunami. I tried the method in the past. Some experts often say we should not care about the past. Live now. But live now. Past, present, and future tense. Past, present, present perfect, and future tense of the grammar make me frustrated, confused. We are often told not to care about the past things, but live now. And some people still adhere to past glories. Some people still stick to adhere to old glories, past glories, past. It's 5 past 10. It's 5 past 10. It's 5 past 11. I guess he is past teens. I think he is past teens. I think he is past 20s. I'm sorry for calling on you past 11 o'clock p.m. But there is important information I have to tell you. I'd like to have a word privately with you. I'd like to have a word with privately. I'd like to have a word privately with you. Because I'd like to have a word privately with you. I'm sorry for calling on you on short notice. I'm sorry for shopping past the regular hours. I'm sorry for shopping inside past regular hours. 5 past 10, 5 past 9, 5 past 8, 5 past 7, 5 past 6, 5 past 5, 5 past 4, 5 past 3, 5 past 2, 5 past 1, 5 past 0. Any applications submitted past the deadline cannot be accepted. No applications submitted past the deadline cannot are accepted. So please bear that in mind. So please keep that in mind. No applications submitted past the deadline can be accepted. So please bear that in mind. Please keep that in mind. No application submitted past the deadline cannot are accepted. Any application forms submitted past the deadline cannot be accepted. Any application forms submitted past the deadline cannot be accepted. I'm past 10. I'm past 10. I'm past 15. I'm past 20. I'm past 25. I'm sorry for calling for calling past the deadline, past the business hours, past the business hours. I'm sorry for calling past the business hours, past the business hours, past the business hours. I'm sorry for calling on calling past business hours, past the business hours, past the business hours. Revolutionary invention. I believe that the combination of curiosity and persistency will lead to revolutionary invention, revolutionary breakthrough, revolutionary invention, development, revolutionary innovation, revolutionary event, revolutionary invention, revolutionary turning point of the society. Industrial Revolution. Revolutionary event, revolutionary level of invention, revolutionary level of invention, revolutionary level of invention. Do you also want to achieve revolutionary level of invention, revolutionary level of invention, revolutionary level of invention, revolutionary, 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 revolutionary. I'd like to achieve a revolutionary invention, development, especially in music industry. I'd like to compose a revolutionary music. I'd like to compose a revolutionary music. Revolutionary turning point of the society. We are in the middle of the revolutionary turning point in the society. Revolutionary turning point, revolutionary turning point, revolution, industrial revolution. Now we are in the revolution of something. Revolution, innovation, revolution, revolution. Revolution, 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 industrial revolution, industrial revolution, industrial revolution, revolution of education system, revolution of education system. Do you think is needed? Do you think revolution of education revolution is needed drastically to be competitive in the world? Do you think educational revolution is needed in order to keep competitive? Do you think educational revolution is necessary to keep up with the quickly changing technology, quickly progressing technologies? Revolution. Do you think educational revolution is necessary to be competitive in the world, to keep up with new technologies, to match new way of thinking, common senses, and so on? Do you think educational revolution is necessary in order to abolish obsolete way of thinking and take in new way of education to be competitive in the world, in the fast changing society? but revolving stage in Kabuki theater, revolving stage, revolving conveyor belt, revolving conveyor belt, revolving sushi restaurant called kaiten sushi, revolving kaiten sushi, revolving conveyor belt. The sushi plates are placed on a revolving conveyor belt, and the customers pick up what they want to eat. Revolve. 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 Revolving stage. Revolving stage. Revolving stage. The circulator has a feature of revolving 360 degrees, so both ways and up and down. The circulator has a feature of revolving up and down 180 degrees and left and right 180 degrees either. The circulator has a feature of revolving up and down 180 degrees and also left and right 180 degrees. So the wind can be reached at many areas. More areas can be reached with the circulator. More areas can be reached by the circulator. More areas is covered with the circulator. You can send the wind to more areas with the circulator. The circulator has the feature of revolving up and down 100 degrees and with left and right 100 degrees. Revolve. Revolving stage of Kabuki theater. Revolve. Revolution. Revolving stage of Kabuki theater. Have you tried revolving sushi restaurant, circulating sushi restaurant? The sushi plates are put on a conveyor belt encircling the counter, and you can pick up what you wanna eat. The system is easy. Revolve, revolve, revolving stage, revolving sushi restaurant, revolving conveyor belt. Our suitcases will be put on a revolving conveyor belt after arriving at the country. Have you ever been to different prefectures? Have you ever taken a flight and deposited your luggage? The luggage will be put on a revolving conveyor belt, and you can pick it up after arriving from the conveyor belt. It can take time. The luggage will be put on a revolving conveyor belt. The science fiction presented in the history might be approaching the reality gradually. The story depicted in the science fiction is approaching the reality gradually with the development of technology and so on. The story depicted in the science fiction, sci-fi, is approaching the reality gradually with the development of technology. Science fiction. Do you like science fiction movies? Is Star Wars included in sci-fi? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm asking. Is Star Wars? Does Star Wars belong to sci-fi? Does Star Wars belong to sci-fi, science fiction? What movies are include belong? What movies are included in science fiction? Which movies belong to science fiction? Which movies belong to science fiction? Which sci-fi movies do you recommend that I watch? Which sci-fi movies do you recommend that I watch? Which sci-fi movies do you recommend to me watch? It is very humid indeed. Your voice is very beautiful indeed. Your playing the piano is as good as professionals indeed. It is so hot and humid today indeed. Making the dream come true is not far from impossible. Making the dream come true is anything but impossible. It depends on how deep you love it. Indeed. I can no longer swim 100 meters. The car is not the realm of mine. Car is not the realm of my specialty, expertise. As far as car is concerned, it is the realm of him. He is involved in the car production, car industry. As far as car is concerned, as far as car is concerned, he is involved in the car industry, so not many people is as knowledgeable as him. So you should ask him about the cars. He will answer any questions. Realm. Unfortunately, car is not the realm of my specialty, expertise. Unfortunately, car is not the realm of my expertise, realm of understanding, beyond the realm of understanding. Many things are beyond the realm of my understanding. Realm. Realm. Realm of understanding, beyond the realm of understanding. Realm. beyond the realm of what we can think, beyond the realm of imagination. Being beyond the realm of imagination is maybe regarded as genius. Realm. Cleaning realm. Realm in charge of me. Who is in charge of the realm? Who is in charge of the realm of answering customer questions? Who is in charge of the realm of customer claims? Customer claims. Realm. Realm of far beyond my imagination. Realm of far beyond my imagination, understanding. I cannot make heads or tails of what you are telling me. I cannot understand. I cannot make heads or tails of what the professor is explaining. Realm. As far as computer is concerned, it is the realm of his expertise. As far as computer is concerned, it is the realm of him. As far as the computer is concerned, it is the realm of him. As far as computer is concerned, it is the realm of his. Realm. 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 When I reached the summit of Mount Fuji, I felt the realm of another dimension like realm. When I reached the top of the Mount Fuji, when I reached the top of the Mount Fuji, I felt amazing realm of the scenery. When I reached the top of the mountain, I felt like I was in a different realm of the world or dimension. When I got to the summit of the Mount Fuji, I felt like I was in a different realm of the world. When I reached the summit of the Mount Fuji, I felt like I was in a different realm of the world. An awful lot of tourists are coming to Japan gradually after the lift of the border measures. Now that all of the border measures have been lifted, an awful lot of tourists are entering the country. Now that all of the border measures have been lifted, an awful lot of tourists are entering. Now that all of the border measures have been lifted, an awful lot of tourists are entering. Now that all of the border measures have been lifted, an awful lot of tourists are entering. Now that all of the border measures have been lifted, so an awful lot of tourists are entering. Now that all of the border measures have been lifted, so an awful lot of tourists are entering. An awful lot of, 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 an awful lot of food and drinks were delivered to the disaster-affected area by the non-profit organization. An awful lot of budget was allocated to nowhere. Some people claim that an awful lot of budget should be allocated to the education. Some experts claim an awful lot of budget should be allocated to the education. An awful lot of food and drinks are wasted every day. An awful lot of food and drinks are wasted every day. An awful lot of food and drinks are thrown away every day. Are there any good ways to reuse the leftovers and so on? An awful lot of food and drinks are thrown away every day. Are there any ways to reuse them? Are there any ideas to reuse the food and drinks and leftovers which beyond the use by date? Maybe fertilizers for the soil, as fertilizer for the soil, as fertilizers for the soil. But are there any other ideas to reuse the leftovers thrown away every day? An awful lot of food and drinks are thrown away every day. Are there any good ideas to use them for sustainability and so on? An awful lot of food and drinks which are beyond use by date are thrown away every day. Are there any good ideas to use them for sustainability? An awful lot of, an awful lot of, an awful lot of, an awful lot of. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.